is going to join us. Fantastic reporter. She's going to be taking a look at the January 6th pardons, which was quite, across the board, not just nonviolent January 6th offenders, but people who were beating cops as well. And then there were a few that were sentence commutations. So she's going to break that down for us. She's also going to break down for us the news about Vivek is officially out at Doge. He was the first cut. Many people have made this joke at this point, but he was the first one to face the axe.
He's been banished to the hinterlands, to the provinces from the imperial capital.
Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting. There's a Politico article that suggests Elon really just was kind of annoyed with him even before the Saved by the Bell, Boy Meets World screed. So that was the excuse to push him aside. But in any case, we'll get Shelby's thoughts and what she knows about all of that. Update on the what appears increasingly to be a temporary ceasefire in Gaza. Trump weighed in on this himself and said he has little confidence that that ceasefire will be able to hold. So we'll take a look at that. We're also taking a look at the whole TikTok situation, which is interesting. We touched on it a little bit yesterday, but wanted to dive into that more because it says so much about Trump and Republicans and Democrats and how to wield power in this era, et cetera. So we'll take a look at that. We're also going to take a look at these Trump and Melania shitcoins. Some pastor who was involved in the inauguration decided to also get in on the action and drop his own meme coin. So wild things happening there. And a little Elon awkward gesture controversy that has the internet and the media and all the people are talking about this. So Sagar and I will take a look.
Yeah, I guess we can debate it because I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say. But okay, all right.
Pretty sure I know what
you're going to say. Yeah, that's right. I don't think there's anything that original to say about it. But yeah, so be it. I guess that's what the people want about Elon and Nazism, etc. So everyone get ready for a Roman salute history lesson.
Oh, boy.
If that's what people want, if we're going to do it, let's do it. Let's start off with Donald Trump. I apologize, everybody. I just want everybody to know this. I got like 4 hours of sleep last night, and I was out very, very late. And as people know here, I'm a baby about my bedtime, okay? I need my 8 hours, and so I've got 2 cups of coffee and a Diet Coke here. Bear with me with the slips and everything. Since we're live streaming, we're keeping it casual.
You can call him Donald Dump all you want, in my opinion.
Yes, that's right. I'm going to start sounding like Kyle, But anyways, let's go with Donald Trump in the Oval Office. Producers, can we please cue up the clip? Just come in my ear and tell me whenever it's ready. Trump was in the Oval Office for a long time yesterday, actually much later than he was originally scheduled to, signing multiple executive orders. Some of them are posturing. Some of them will take effect immediately. One of the more high-profile ones, as opposed to January 6th, was this order on birthright citizenship. So let's take a listen, if we can, to what happened in the Oval Office whenever he was signing that.
This next order relates to the definition of birthright citizenship under the 14th Amendment of the United States.
Good. That's a good one. Birthright. That's a big one.
What about that one in the course? That one is likely to be challenged.
Could be. We think we have good grounds, but you could be right. I mean, you'll find out. It's ridiculous. We're the only country in the world that does this with birthright, as you know. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. But we'll see. We think we have very good grounds. People have wanted to do this for decades.
All right, so what we have there from Trump was one of these birthright citizenship orders. It was part of a slate of executive actions. Guys, can we go ahead and put the Trump executive orders, New York Times tear sheet, please, up on the screen so I can just read through a bunch of these. So, for example, one of the more important ones on the federal workforce was freezing of federal hiring. This is a resumption of a policy that was held under the first Trump administration. One of them was to grant top security clearances to the White House staff. There was also some, like I said, some symbolic stuff, stripping John Bolton and a few others of their own security clearances.
Yeah, all the people who signed on to that, like Hunter Biden, letters. Infamous, oh, it has the hallmarks of Russian disinformation.
That's
all
right.
of
They've
them
been
had
stripped of their security clearance. I didn't even know that those people got to keep their security clearance, which is kind of ridiculous. Probably should terminate on your end of government service, whatever. On immigration, we are going to, quote, bar asylum for people newly arriving at the border, move to end birthright citizenship. That's the one that we just showed you. That is going to face constitutional challenge within the hour and will quickly make its way to the United States Supreme Court. It is actually an interesting question because the way that the executive order is phrased is specifically trying to target people who are in the country illegally. So it gets to this question of temporary visa status and the citizenship of the people who are born in the United States from those parents. I don't know. I've talked to a bunch of different lawyers. The odds generally seem to be against Trump. It would probably have to change a constitution. It's like the census. You know, the census, the way we do the census is ridiculous, but it literally says in the Constitution that you have to do the census that way, and nobody seems like they want to change it. So there's that one. There is the declaring migrant crossing along the U.S.-Mexico border to be a, quote, national emergency. The National Emergency Declaration unlocks federal funding, kind of in the way that you'll do it for a hurricane or something like that. Could also face some constitutional challenge, but because it went through last time around, it worked its way through the courts. There's some legal precedents considering, and then designating the cartels as foreign terrorist organization. Same thing, it opens up a lot of sanctions power, and also, as you pointed out yesterday, Crystal, opens up the AUMF order if they want to pursue that. On DEI, it was terminating DEI programs across the federal government, recognizing two sexes, male and female. I love the way they put this. Remove protections for transgender people in federal prisons. Tariffs. This is actually arguably the most important one here for everybody. So this is basically a confirmation of what Jeff Stein had previously reported. There is no, quote, day one tariff going into effect. The way they are doing this is moving it through the federal process for a study. So what he's effectively said is we're going to carry out a full review of the U.S. industrial and manufacturing base. The reason that you have to do that is that legally, to be able to impose tariffs, you need a justification. So there's some 180-day period where the government goes out, assesses, does a review, and based on that review, you're allowed to then declare a tariff based on a national security basis. The reason why you need to do the study is to survive legal scrutiny. So this is the beginning of the legal process to get us to tariffs, but it will not come through 100%. Similarly, like this, began an investigation into trade practices and trade deficits. This is all legalistic language, but is very important for actually getting this stuff done. And then finally, there were a bunch of executive orders withdrawing the U.S. from the Paris Climate Accords, declaring a national emergency, which could expedite the permitting, like to get around permitting reform problems for drilling. Yeah, I think. Oh, and then the last one is TikTok, but we will get to that. So there you go.
Yeah, and he also issued, like I said, blanket pardons, excuse me, for the J6 people. So we'll talk to Shelby about that as well. A couple other things, he rescinded a bunch of Biden executive orders, a couple of those that are interesting. One of them was aimed at reducing prescription drug prices for people who are on Medicare and Medicaid. That was reversed by Trump. Another one that is significant that we can also talk about a little bit in the context of the latest with regards to the ceasefire is, you'll remember Biden put into place an executive order allowing them to sanction extreme, violent Israeli settlers. That has been applied to some roughly 33 people. He rolled that back as well, and this is consequential right now in particular because settlers are rampaging and rioting like crazy in the West Bank, of course, oftentimes with the backing of the Israeli government. That has been rolled back. Two additional things just to note here, and can get your take on too, Sagar. So Jeff Stein is reporting about the latest indications with regards to Trump and the tariff regime. So he says, takeaways from Trump's press are related to the things I cover, and maybe you care about. 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada could start in 10 days. Obviously, Trump has been, I guess, aggressively talking to both the Canadians and the Mexican government about what that could look like. If that's an across-the-board tariff, that is insanely consequential. It's very consequential for the auto industry. Those auto parts made as part of the manufacturing process cross back and forth over the borders multiple times in the course of putting together a vehicle, so that would be incredibly consequential in terms of building materials, in terms of oil, especially Midwest. So if there aren't exemptions, but these are all big question marks if we don't have a lot of clarity on all of this, so put that one to the side. China could be hit with major tariffs if they don't sell TikTok, suggests 100% as a possibility. We can talk more about that in the TikTok section. Universal tariff on all countries still on the table. Trump thinks Russia's economy is falling apart, but wouldn't comment on if he would keep U.S. sanctions. And Elon Musk's Doge will get a White House office with 20 people. More to say about that in a moment as well.
Yeah.
To go back to the birthright citizenship piece, the reason why you're saying it'll be, clearly challenged, and if the lawsuit hasn't already been filed, it will be imminently filed. The 14th Amendment says, Section 1 states, all persons born or naturalized in the U.S. and subject to the jurisdiction thereof